Hey everybody, less than 2 weeks ago my son got his first driver's license and got himself a job at the local pizza place, and on his way home last night he somehow managed to go off the road into a ditch. And no one was hurt, but the car didn't do so well. The whole front bumper cover was ripped off. I got that in the bed of the truck. I had to go with the pickup truck last night and bring a tow strap and pull him out of the ditch. Long story short though, managed to pull it out of the ditch, and it was only a short ways away, so drove it home even though the coolant was leaked out of it. I mean, real short distance, literally like right around the corner from us. So anyways, now I've got to assess the damage. So when he went down off of the side of the road, everything that he hit was kind of low down, so it actually was underneath the bumper. So it never triggered his airbag, which is good because it would have been much worse. But what it did do is it struck this support that normally comes across here and stove that in up at an angle. So it kind of pushed it up and back, and it looks like it's pretty much taken out the AC condenser, which is this coil up in the front here, and then more than likely the radiator, since coolant came out of it. Either that, or it's possible that the coolant came out of the overflow tank, because that's kind of stuffed in back here too, but I'd be shocked if that radiator is still good. So for starters, I'm going to have to pull that plastic shroud off the top. I already checked, and this fan is actually still able to rotate, but this one only rotates part way and then stops. So it's hitting the battery tray. So the whole fan shroud assembly is pushed back so far that it's actually hitting this battery. That's interesting. I don't think the cross bracing part that the motor mount is attached to is damaged. At least I hope not. When he got home, I asked him when he came in the house whether or not it felt like it was driving okay, if it was pulling to one side or anything like that. And he honestly couldn't answer me. He says he wasn't paying attention. He was still pretty upset. So I probably should. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to road test this thing right now. The short drive up and down our dead-end street here is not going to cause it to overheat that quickly. I just want to see whether or not it feels like there's something, if it feels like there's a big problem pulling to one side or something, then that could mean severe frame damage and then the car is totaled. Just for giggles, let's try to put some water in the radiator and see what happens. Yep, coming out as quick as I put it in. It's funny, it's actually leaking on the side that's less stoved in. I'm kind of surprised. So the mounts on the top here are pretty straightforward. I just took this bolt out for this mount, the top of the condenser, and the weird thing is this piece of wire was crimped underneath there, almost as if like somebody just wrapped it around there as a ground. But the funny thing is that looks like it's cut. I don't see what that was going to. So maybe that's the remnants of some old wiring botch job that was done previously. I don't know. Well, no surprise, the one on this side snapped off rather easily. So with those two things undone, it's supposed to be just a matter of lifting upward and out, and then of course there's the line. The lines are going to the AC system. I would love to not have to undo these lines. I mean, for all I know, the system already leaked. Maybe this has already got a hole in it. And again, maybe it doesn't. I don't have a recovery system, and I certainly don't feel like towing this to a garage just to have that recovered. The Freon, or the refrigerant I'm talking about. Let me pull the brackets on that radiator and just see what's up. Oh, snap. So one bolt came out, two bolts snapped off, and this one is, the head's all stripped out and rounded over. So, I can't, even with vice grips, I can't get it to turn. least I don't have to drain the cooling system. Let's pop this overflow tube off. And there we go. Oh, that battery tray's moving. Why is that battery flopping around like that? I better disconnect that before something else happens. Yeah, this condenser's gonna have to come out, and so I already undid this top line and popped this loose, and there wasn't so much as a fart coming out of this thing. That system was bone dry, so either, I don't even know if the AC worked in this car or not. So either it was already empty previously, or it emptied itself last night when he hit that hillside in the ditch. So either this overflow tank's going to have to come off, or the fan shroud here that it's bolted to is going to have to come off. The problem is this bolt head's already rounded over and rusted, so the socket's not going to work on it. Oh, that snapped off. All right. Well, to get this tank out, seems like I need more clearance. If I take the battery tray out, that would work. But the problem is the bolts for the battery tray are rusted really bad. So I notice I can now flex this forward far enough that I think I can get the wrench onto here. But then when I turn this, it's actually, this nut's supposed to stay captive in this plastic piece, and it just turns. So let's see, I think if I put some vice grips on there and just clamp it just so it can't turn, maybe now I can get this undone. Well, every one of these 4 bolts in the top here required vice grips because the heads were so rusted and rounded over. So the good news is the bottoms of these fans just clip into a groove in the bottom of this, so I don't have to worry about bolts down the bottom there. So now that I've got these fan shrouds disconnected from the radiator, I think one of the only things left holding this is the hose on the bottom. That looks like part of the fan shroud. Looks like the bottom of that fan shroud's busted up too. Interesting enough, I think what's actually keeping me from being able to get this out is the fact that that metal brace is bent so badly up. The hose actually kind of makes an S turn, and it's actually kinked because it's been pushed back so far. You can feel a conventional hose clamp on the bottom as opposed to the spring clamp that was used on the top. If this radiator support on the bottom wasn't all pushed in like this, I would have had this out already. Now that I get the hose disconnected from below, I can tell it's just not clear in this frame area. I can't move this fan back any further because the battery tray that's rusted in place is stopping that from happening. I can see this fan shroud's cracked also. Oh, I see why it was leaking from this side. This is the drain. This is the drain valve for the bottom of the radiator, and this was completely cracked. So I guess maybe this is normally sticking down like that, and when it dug into the ground it just ripped off. There we go. You can see right through it. Now you can really see that part that I was talking about, how it's pushed up. This actually is supposed to be facing out straight. That's one of the cups that this rubber thing was in. So I'm going to undo the electrical plugs for the fans and see if I take those fan assemblies out. Well, I was out here the other day and I started trying to straighten out this bent up radiator support, and I could get like some pry bars in here, and I was able to pull this away so that this is no longer touching or up against the motor mount. Started to straighten this a little bit, but I was kind of limited to how much I could do because the bumper kept getting in my way. Every time I tried to put some leverage on this, of course, you know, I'd go in here and try and pull down and the bumper would hit it. You know, it would hit the back of the bumper. So, turns out, there's only 6 bolts hold this bumper on, and they all came out fairly easily, much to our surprise. So I had Aidan take the bumper off earlier today. So, and then it started raining, so we had to quit. But now I'm back out here, and now I've got this all exposed. I've got some various little ideas here on how I can start to straighten this out. I think for starters, I'll concentrate on this area here because this is where it's really bent. Well, I spent quite a bit of time on this, trying to straighten this out and get it as close to normal as I could. I mean, the only way we could really fix this now is if we were willing to either replace this whole subframe, which is a major job, or the other thing we could do is we could cut out this section in the middle that's really bad and you know, weld in another piece. But I actually checked, and right now we've got the fit fairly decent. That being said, the centerline distance from the hole, these 2 holes, when compared to the radiator, is about 7/16 off, or about 1 centimeter off. So what happens is when you put the radiator in, it'll sit in on this side okay, but then this rubber boot can't sit down in its hole. It sits off to the side a little bit high like that. But there's enough clearance that we can make it work. This has been now bent out, moved away from this part of the actual frame of the car, so that now the fans will fit in there and there's clearance and they'll operate. So I think we're just going to roll with it that way. The AC condenser in the front that we were going to replace, we've now decided to forego doing that at all because, as I had suspected, when I opened this up, I thought, hey, it was kind of weird. It seemed like I didn't see any big holes in the condenser, and yet, even though the condenser doesn't look like it's got any holes in it, it just looks like it's bent way out of shape. There was no Freon and no refrigerant left in the system. Well, we were looking at it the other day, and when Aidan was out here helping me move this, try and straighten this out, and somebody's put a shorter serpentine belt on this thing to bypass the pulley on the AC compressor altogether. And if I try and turn the AC compressor by hand, it's seized up. So this car has a bad AC compressor, so it never had AC when we got it. So the cold air that Aidan had fantasized about feeling coming out of the vents was probably just outside air that was cooler than the inside air. Every one of the 4 10mm bolts here snapped, so I ended up buying new bolts. The captive nuts came with the radiator, so that's like the only hardware that came with the radiator. So that's ready to go. Now the next thing I got to take care of is where these bolts snapped off. There's one here and one here that are for the retention brackets for the top of the radiator. So Aidan tried to drill one out on the other side there. The problem is, the way this is actually made is what they do is there is a nut on the underside here that's actually welded to the underside of this frame. And that's what the bolt originally threaded into. So the only way I think we're going to be able to fix this is to drill this out oversized, re-tap it with the next size screw up, and then just put new bolts in there. And I'm probably just going to go with standard instead of metric. So it'll be a mismatch. There'll be some metric fasteners and some non-metric fasteners in the car. But that'll be fun for the next person who works on it to try and figure out what the heck's going on there. So I decided to drill this out for a quarter 20 tap, because that's a pretty standard, easy to find screw. So I know I'll have some extra screws. As opposed to metric, I don't have a lot of metric. So I checked on my chart and it tells me I need a number 7 drill bit for a quarter 20 tap. Ugh, say that 5 times fast. So now I've got my quarter 20 tap, and I've got this handy tap guide, which is great for this kind of application because, you know, when you're trying to get this to go in, you want it to go in straight, and sometimes it's a little hard to get it started. This works pretty well as long as you got a fairly flat surface to deal with and keeping things fairly aligned. And it would help if I would get this. And it looks like I'm not going to be able to really be able to make use of this fancy dandy thing because of the lip here gets in the way. So we're just going to hope for the best.
Guesstimate.
And I did put some tapping fluid on there, so it'll be interesting to see if this works out okay, as opposed to just pulling the threads out when we go to tighten it. These do not have to be super tight, so
If they shake loose, it's okay.
at highway speeds.
My radiator falls
Add some
out.
excitement to your life.
I did when I crashed it.
Yeah. All right. So I should have grabbed a quarter 20 screw while I was down there. There we go. It must have been. It was probably just a burr in there. See how sloppy this is, though?
Yeah.
That's because we basically turned the remnants of a 8mm threaded hole into
We could put
a quarter 20.
walk washer on it.
You know, sometimes you sound just like Walt Jr. from Breaking Bad. You could do a great. You could do a great impression of him. Ooh, look, made in Taiwan. All in the finest quality.
Hey, that's what Doc Brown said in Back to the Future.
My name's Walter Jr.
Or is that Marty?
I don't remember. All right, let me move out of the way so you can destroy this. Hopefully there's no gas leaks in the car now that I... Oh, look at that. See this? See all this grinding right here on the metal? That's exactly what I wanted you not to
We could
do.
put some paint over that.
Paint. Ooh, that's hot. Ow, ow, ow!
Don't. I just grinded it. It would be hot.
Past tense of grind is ground.
Let me just like do some more illegal stuff.
I just ground it.
Move over a little
You didn't
bit.
just grinded it,
Move over a little bit.
Walt Jr.
I don't know what your problem is.
You didn't. Oh, you didn't scrape this up enough. You wanted to get some more.
That was
Yeah,
by
that's a
me.
little better. I could probably. All right, so now I will center punch it because of your failed attempt of getting a straight center punch mark on the last one.
Right there.
This is an automatic center punch.
I don't have one of those.
That's right, because this is a high precision tool for.
I got one I made.
It's not for hacks.
Like you.
fabrication hack. This is for machinists. Yeah, not my best work. Hold on.
Ooh, I'm telling.
Sometimes if you go at an angle, you can actually get it to work back over. That's actually not too bad. Oh, what are you doing?
Drilling
You
it.
can't drill that with a full size size drill in one shot.
Yes, you
What if it walks?
walk the walk. What size?
The larger the drill bit, the slower you have to rotate the drill because your surface speed
Mumbo jumbo.
in feet per minute. Yeah, see again. It's mumbo jumbo to you guys.
Stick a
Why is
torch
this-
to it.
What the hell is wrong with this chuck?
Just stick a torch to it. As easy as that. Ooh, both of these are snapped. That's nice.
What are you talking about? Well, it just got cracks in them, but it's still secure enough.
Enough.
You can't see it from my house. Well, with the hood down, you can't see it from my house.
But we can see the hood from your house, so I know hood's bad.
There you go.
Don't let Mr. Wonka see a video of you using the grinder.
I'm gonna send him that video. I'm gonna not make him watch the whole boring video. I'm just gonna send him a clip of that.
No, I'll get yelled at.
Oh yeah, that's way off.
This guy's a machinist too.
You ever heard of a shade tree mechanic? I'm a shade tree machinist. Every once in a while I turn the tap back the other way.
Yeah.
That breaks the chip. They make special taps for power tapping where you don't have to back them up. They have a spiral flute to them.
Sounds crunchy.
Well, the trick is to know when to stop before you snap the tap off in there. You know, there are entire businesses built around removing broken taps.
Yep.
You make good money doing it too.
At machine shops, they have a guy who does that because
Old drunk guy.
this
Name's Fred.
person I met, he was like, I was one of the guys.
I was a tap remover.
He,
And you're like, yeah, move along, buddy.
every single person in the machine shop, he was the welder, and he got most of the money by.
Yeah, and he was the guy that they tortured the most. All the machinists used to come in and play pranks on him, stuff him in his locker.
No, all the machinists liked him.
They used to slip X-Lax into his coffee.
I'm gonna do that to you.
All right.
Where's that bolt or not? Whatever you want to call
Oh, the
it.
other one?
No, both of them.
No, don't.
Why?
Because that actually has threads in it now. If it stays put, it's going to actually
Help.
improve the situation.
Situation.
Yeah, I graduated.
Sounds like homeless redneck. No offense to rednecks out there.
I was just going to say, there's nothing wrong with being a redneck.
Ty. I mean,
You're going to get beaten up. These are, I would call these
loose fitting.
Aidan qualified. They passed the Aidan code.
Guesstimate.
Guess them at Aidan. All right, go get me those brackets. We got to see if we can, because we might have to enlarge the holes for these screws to fit through the brackets.
Just guesstimate. You know what guesstimating is, Mark? See? I'm not the only one.
What are you doing?
My dad.
All right. So these quarter 20s will no longer fit through here, which I kind of figured. So we're just gonna
Live dangerous.
zip through here. Wait a minute. Why is that not working? That's a riot. Oh, dummy. Because that's the number 7 drill bit. Oh, are you kidding me? I don't have one out here large enough? I don't. Oh, man.
I'm gonna make some food. You want some flank?
I just told Mark I'll make my own lunch. Yes, I must be losing my mind. That Those new screws fit through these holes. Just drop this in. It goes.
Yeah, this one looks newer.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, started to put the radiator back in, and then when I went to put the overflow tank back in, I realized that I had forgotten to take care of this broken bolt, which is the only bolt that holds that in. The bottom just clips into here. So, yeah, right, like that's going to work. Actually, you can grab, there's vice grips in the trunk, I think.
Maybe, I don't think so.
If not, then there are some pliers back there, maybe. And try those. I have no reason to believe it's going to work because it snapped off, so no reason to believe that that's going to want to turn. Yeah, that's not going to work. Unfortunately, you see, this is a metal insert,
Yeah.
and if we heat this up, it's going to melt this plastic, so we can't heat it up. So we can't use heat. You're never going to be able to grip it with that. Why are you even bothering?
I don't know. Worth the try.
You know you just no, it wasn't worth a try. All right, this is going to take some skill, so you better let me handle this one.
What skills?
I can't have, you know how you ground that metal on the car? This is plastic. It's going to be less forgiving.
And we're near a brand spanking new radiator.
Stand back, hack.
He doesn't have safety glasses on.
I have my.
Yeah, but you need safety glasses. Those don't have side skirts.
If I wanted a skirt, I'd borrow one of yours, like that nice little floral number you like to wear.
What one? Which one is that?
Yeah, I know, you got so many of them. All right, these left-hand drill bits, they drill in the opposite direction. So what happens is, as you're drilling, and the heat from drilling sometimes will break this free.
Then pull it out.
And sometimes it'll zip right out. If we have to, we can just put a nut on the back side of this, but I'm hoping that we can avoid that. So I think I just unscrewed that. Yeah, I just unscrewed what was left of that
That what?
bolt. Yep, that's it.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah, now that hole's going to be too big.
Hey, let's try it. No. Tap. Keep on tapping it, Daddy. See what happens.
Well, that's what I mean. It's going to be. That's why those fit loose. The quarter 20s. Could have gone to the next bolt size up. The problem with that is it's just not that much metal there. You know what? I'm not going to even run the whole tap down. Keep the diameter smaller. Maybe that'll help.
That's the only thing that holds it on.
There's not much weight in here. See, normally this is only filled up to here when it's operating correctly. So there's not a lot of weight.
You can put this one in there, or you're gonna find another one.
Why don't you get the rest of the screws and junk out of the trunk and see if there's any washers. There should be a washer that goes on this.
These are.
Oh, that's the stuff? Yeah. So no washers? Oh, yeah, there's one right there. Of course, it's going to be too small now, right? Yeah. Click.
I heard that too.
Alright, so there's two basic types of antifreeze you can buy at the store. There's straight antifreeze concentrate, okay? And then there's what's called 50-50 mix. 50-50 mix is where they take straight antifreeze concentrate and they add water to it and it's ready to go. You don't have to do anything. You pour it direct from the bottle into the cooling system, okay?
Yep.
That's quick and easy. That's the kind you keep in your car for emergencies, that kind of stuff. Any other time, how you doing? Good. Any other time, you don't want to waste your money, so you buy straight antifreeze concentrate and you mix your own water with it. Now, some people will tell you that there's other good reasons why you shouldn't, because you shouldn't use your tap water to mix it with it, because you should buy premium distilled water.
Yeah.
You should use Evian water or Perrier, Buble.
That's sparkling water.
Whatever. It gives you a nice, effervescent effect.
But he'll ruin it.
But here on Redneck Restorations, we don't care about our water's plenty fine. So we're just gonna use this old jug
And we use the
to
wall.
mix.
We're rednecks.
I'm gonna take the straight antifreeze from 1920.
Yeah, we bought a new one, but he's
Okay.
making me use the old one.
Yep. New one is for more important things like tractors and stuff like that.
It's Napa. The good stuff.
And we're gonna pour this in here.
Spill a little bit so we can texture the ground.
No, we're trying. See, it's called skills, son.
What skills?
Mad skills, I believe, is what you would call this.
I like how that's Sharpied and new straight antifreeze.
I put that on there because I wanted to make sure I knew what it was. Because I had it up on the shelf with some other ones that say old, which it's not. I mean, it's old, but it's the old type.
What's the old type?
It has different standards, which is good enough for tractors. A tractor made in 1974 or 1960, whatever, it's going to be perfectly happy with the old style antifreeze. Probably old style, meaning it probably just has deadly chemicals in it.
Even better, we can drink it.
Good old days.
Make some bootleg.
So what I'm doing is I'm looking in, because the sun's shining today, I can see exactly where it is. And these are the same size jugs, so I just put my finger there and there, and see, I can see that I got now pretty much close enough.
So we just had to fill one with water?
Close enough for government work.
Which one do you want me to fill with water?
Well, since we have the cap for this one. Actually, we get the cap for both of them, right? Or
Nope.
the other
You
cap?
threw it away.
I didn't throw no cap away. What are you talking about? All right, go ahead and fill that up with water. Don't let it overflow. So now, I'll just borrow this cap since you lost the other one.
You're the one who lost it. You're the one who threw it away.
Listen, let's not bicker and argue about who killed who. What's that from? We were at a wedding. And the night came in, killed all the guests. You killed the father of the
Oh yeah, I
bride.
know.
Slosh it back and forth. There you go. All right, good. So now take this cap,
Good shaking.
shaken, not stirred.
No funnel, just gonna.
Once again, gonna use these mad skills.
I don't know where he's getting these because.
He's from Jimicata.
Jim Kata.
Is that bottle leaking?
It's just running along the.
You said you had skills.
Well, it's too full. Somebody will refill this.
Well, you told me to fill it.
See anything coming out anywhere?
Nope. That's a good sign.
Yeah, so far. Oops.
Come on.
I don't know what your problem is, but I do.
Go ahead, start it. They're off. Where the heck's the radiator cap?
What?
Where the heck's the radiator cap?
I don't know. I gave it to you and you said it's right here.
Oh. Alright. I'm going to build some pressure and. Go ahead.
I know the door was.
Tell the engine's warming up now because the idle's going down. What's that temperature gauge say? All moved up? Alright, shut it off. I don't want to get it too hot because then when I go to open this thing I'm going to deal with the pressure.
It's gonna pop up at you.
Yep, alright, looks like we can put a little more in.
How much does this take?
Don't know. Your owner's manual would probably say the capacity of the cooling system.
We don't have the owner's manual.
Thought you did.
Nope.
Alright, well, that didn't take much. Yeah, there's some air coming out now.
I'll start it. Want me to start it?
Yeah, hold on, let me get the cap back on. No, wait, give it a second. Right now it's purging a little bit of air. Don't start it yet.
I'm not.
Go ahead, start it.